Welcome back, listeners. Since you're hearing my voice now, this means that this is a double feature podcast. Now, today I'm sitting down with former Air Force pilot John Osarczuk of First Command Financial Services to talk about his commitment to service after transitioning out of the Air Force and how he sees service play out in his current leadership role at First Command. John, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, I am too. First, can you tell us a little bit about your role at First Command?
Sure, you bet. Well, I work as the Executive Vice President and National Director of Advisor Operations. Kind of a long title. But what that really means is it's my job to organize and make sure that all of our financial advisors have what they need to do their job. We've got 600 of them around the country, and some of them in overseas. And we've got 175 offices outside just about every military installation, including Germany, the UK, also in Guam.
So many different advisors and in so many different locations. For those who are unfamiliar, can you tell us a bit about what First Command does?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're a financial services company, and I know that can mean a lot of different things to people. But for us, what it means is we're trying to live out the reason that our founder created the company. And we were founded by a former Air Force officer, a retired Air Force officer, Lieutenant Colonel Carol Payne, back in the late 50s. And he was a bomber pilot in World War II, saw the impact throughout his career in his life, really saw the impact to military families about not being financially prepared. And he decided to create a company that was going to take care of that. He really felt like if you're in the military, you deserve to have your financial life squared away, and that's why he created First Command, and that's really what we do. So it's all the financial coaching that goes along with that.
And that's just such a wonderful mission. Finances can be so tricky. There's always so much to learn. And when you're in the military, you have a lot of benefits and other resources to navigate as well.
So that's the reason 4 out of 5 of our financial advisors are either prior military or their military spouses. And so we recruit heavily from the military because, they have experience. They've walked in people's boots, literally. They can help navigate all of the benefits, all of the programs in the military, and they have empathy and understanding of what that lifestyle is like. And so that's how our advisors are really well tuned to help folks in the military.
I think that's so important. So what originally brought you to First Command?
Well, I had heard about First Command a few times, but I really started with them as a brand new second lieutenant right out of the Air Force Academy. And I was in flight school, and a couple friends had said, "Hey, you should go see this." But I was 23, I was in flight school, had just gotten married. It wasn't the priority thing I had to do in my life, but unfortunately, the thing that really got my wife and I started was about 2 months after we got married, my father-in-law passed away. And he was an Air Force veteran. He had retired after a little over 20 years in the military, and was in his second career, and had a wife and home and a nice motorcycle. But he had not prepared financially for what was going to happen to him, for getting sick. And my wife and I went through that process with her mom, and we decided that's not going to happen to us. We went and saw First Command, and that was 37 years ago.
Oh my goodness.
That's what really got us started, and that's what gets unfortunately, that's what gets a lot of folks started.
Right. I feel like it's a little bit easier nowadays to talk about those things, but it's not something you want to think about. But it's definitely important to make sure that you have a plan for those worst case scenarios.
That's right.
So, how did your time in the Air Force prepare you for the work that you do at First Command?
Being an Air Force veteran, going through that, having those experiences. I mean, my wife and I have lived in many different places, like you've lived in many different places, and there's a lot of great aspects about that, and the friends
Right.
and things. But it, there are some other experiences you have to learn. I mean, we had my oldest daughter while we were stationed in Germany, and
My son was born in Germany.
oh yeah, oh
Yeah.
that's neat. We were at Ramstein, and so she was born. I was born in Germany because my dad was in the army.
Oh my
So
goodness.
little tradition there going on, but
I love that. You've continued the tradition.
wasn't really in control of it, but it worked. So yeah, and my wife also had the same experiences a lot of military spouses have. I mean, I dragged her around all over the place, and she couldn't. This is going to date me a little bit, but she worked in the video store back back in the day. So because she couldn't find gainful employment, so having all of those experiences really has helped me make sure that First Command is prepared to help folks in the military, because we know the struggles, we know the challenges, we know the ups and we know the downs, and we've done the deployment thing and PCS and all of that. So that helps me make sure that our advisors are prepared, and that helps. And they come from that life too, so they understand all of those challenges.
I love that they have that background. Now, how does working for First Command help military spouses overcome the work challenges that are associated with the military lifestyle?
Well, I won't be telling you anything you don't know, but military spouses are chronically underemployed, right? They're chronically unemployed, and the challenges that moving around brings. I mean, they have a geography problem. They're not in the same geography long enough, really to leverage a career. And my wife experienced that. My mother-in-law experienced the same thing. That's why when my father-in-law passed away, she struggled to make ends meet because she had never been able to develop a career on her own. And so it's something that just, it's part of the lifestyle, but it helps people understand and have some empathy for it, but it's part of what happens on a regular basis. So we hire a lot of military spouses. That's one of the areas we focus, because they have that empathy and they have that experience. But more practically speaking, they know what to do about it. Right. So they know what to do about it. And our career allows military, because we have 175 locations, pretty much anywhere a mil spouse is going to PCS, we're gonna have an office there. And so it's the career moves with them. I'm not saying it's easy, because there's lots and lots of challenges associated with it, but once you're a licensed financial advisor and you have experience, you can bring all of that with you. And I'm really proud of the way First Command enables that to happen for mil spouses.
And to be able to have that, to be able to move and keep the same job is just amazing for a military spouse. And military spouses are the ultimate multitaskers. So that level of flexibility helps when there's just so many things to get done.
Right. And I heard earlier a little voice in the background, so I know you're multitasking, aren't you?
So, just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Yep. So ultimate multitasker with kids in the mix, for sure. That's what they're good at. and to run a practice as a financial advisor and make sure that you're helping clients in all different stages of financial planning and things. That's what they're good at, and they are some of the most efficient and some of the most empathetic advisors that we have. They know it all.
That's awesome, because that has to help your customers to be able to feel comfortable with it.
Absolutely. And we know who really runs the finances, right? It's the spouse. Right? I mean,
we won't tell the soldiers that.
right, sure. Yeah. But I think they figured it out. And,
yeah.
At least me personally, I was A-okay with it. So
yeah. It helps, when you're got other things to do.
That's right.
Oh, because we are the Army Wife Network, we understand the important role that military spouses play when it comes to supporting your service member. So you were talking about your wife earlier. How has your wife, Terry, supported you throughout your career in the military and now your career with First Command?
Sure. Well, I wouldn't be talking with you today if it wasn't for her. She has supported me all along the way, but in some very specific ways. I mean, when we got married, I was new to the military, but her dad had spent 20 plus years in the military. So in a lot of ways, she knew more about the Air Force than I did when we got married. She knew, how to shop at the commissary and the BX, and she knew all those things, and it wasn't a surprise to her. So she was able to help me navigate that through our active duty career. And after the Air Force, I went into industry, and she primarily stayed at home with our daughters because she struggled to find a kind of a meaningful career. But when we decided to join First Command, because she had that military experience, I actually asked her to be my administrative assistant. And so
nice.
We were in practice together for 13 years as a financial advisor.
Oh, and my goodness.
She was my office manager and she was my administrative assistant. So we actually, I'll say surprisingly, hopefully she won't mind me saying that, we made a really good team both at work and at home. And so she brought a lot of that into our ability to serve our clients in the military, because she knew the language. She knew what it was like to be home alone when somebody was deployed, and struggles with, banks or credit cards or things like that. She had all of that, and she could help them. It didn't depend on me to do it by myself. So she was a huge support for everything I did, both in the military and as a First Command advisor.
That's so wonderful. And I feel so special. I love my husband. I'm not sure that we could work together for 13 years.
We weren't sure either.
Oh my goodness. So I understand First Command is a very service-first, mission-focused company. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure. Well, our mission is coaching those who serve in their pursuit of financial security. And just like in the military, the mission is what anchors everything we do. So our advisors come from the military. They understand mission focus. They understand the mission focus of the people that we serve. And our advice, that helps us, because if we're coming from the military, understanding mission focus, being highly trained, being highly disciplined, that makes them sought after by lots of companies. And they come and they join First Command because of the mission, right? It's like being able to go back, even though you're out of the military, it's like hanging out with the team in the locker room. Right?
Oh.
So you can still serve them and help them accomplish their ultimate mission. And we do that by accomplishing our mission. And that's really what drives a lot of our advisors. Because like I said, they can pretty much go anywhere. They're trained, they're educated, highly experienced, sought after by a lot of companies, but they come here because of the mission.
And it's such a great mission. And I love that it's so service focused. In what ways do advisors go above and beyond in their commitment to service?
Like I said, they still want to be on the team. So whatever the team needs, they're willing to provide. There's a great example of that was during COVID. Every place was locked down. The bases were locked down. Our offices were locked down. And a couple of our offices got a call. And I don't know if you experienced it, but at some places what they were doing was creating meals, and then the cars would drive by and you would give them some meals and stuff. And our advisors just went out and just volunteered. I mean, you're standing outside, you got a mask on, you can't talk to people, you hand them a meal through the window of the car, and just like, good, stay healthy, go back, here's a nice warm meal, and go back and just do the things that you're supposed to do. So to me, that's a really great example. They're just willing to do. They support functions on base, MWR functions on base. They support, the spouses clubs and all of those things. It's like I said, it's just trying to be part of the team. So they do whatever they can, and they get lots of requests. And so if you know First Command Advisor and you need some support, reach out to them. I bet you're going to get a warm reception. So.
Oh, that's amazing. And the saying's true. Actions speak louder than words. So someone is committed to the mission when their actions speak for them.
Our advisors live out the mission by giving back, putting service before self. They're used to that philosophy. It's ingrained in them. One of the things our advisors love most about their jobs is, like I said, just getting to stay connected to the military. Even if you're not on the team, hang out in the locker room and have a little fun. So they love it.
Yeah, to still be a part of it. That's wonderful. Now, beyond financial coaching, how has the field's commitment to service impacted the lives of both military spouses and military families?
Sure. So, like I said, most of our advisors have very extensive military service and military background, either as a spouse or as active duty. And that really forms the kernel of what we call coaching. So it's not financial services. We like to call it coaching. And coaching allows them to really give a very round perspective. So they've walked in their shoes, they've experienced the trials and tribulations. And beyond just financial services, they sometimes can give a little informal career advice because they've been there and done that. One of the biggest things they do is help folks that are new to the military kind of navigate the process, right? Navigate the benefits. They know what it's like to have a spouse deployed and to be home alone, or, for a brand new couple to say, hey, we're going to PCS and go live in Germany for the next 3 years. That could be a little scary if you've never done stuff like that. So
it can be really scary.
Yeah, it can be really scary. Exactly. Although my wife learned how to shop in many languages while we were overseas. She picked that up naturally. Yeah. So that was something that she could say, how much does that cost in many different languages? She learned that pretty quick. So just our advisors have all of those experience, and so they can put it in perspective of coaching. They can put it in perspective of, hey, do I live on post when I go overseas? Do I live on the economy? How does this thing called housing allowance actually work? If you're new to that process, you can get a little confused. and to have somebody to chat with and give you some perspective, I think that makes all the difference.
Absolutely. And like you said, moving overseas is moving anywhere, especially if you're moving for the first time or away from family, can be really scary. I know a lot of people are hesitant to work with financial advisors who don't have a military background simply because they don't have the same working knowledge of military benefits
Right.
and the challenges that veterans or military spouses do.
Right. And that's number one reason why we recruit from the military. That's number one reason why our advisors are so effective. They can put everything into perspective for our clients. They've also seen the impact of being financially prepared in their own lives, because many of our advisors are were clients first. So they were clients, they experienced the process, they saw the benefits of being financially prepared, and then they want to give back by being a financial advisor. We don't recruit folks that have a financial services background. We want folks that have a military background, have those experiences, right? Because you can teach financial services to folks. You can't teach what it's like to be in the military. All right, you have to live it. And so many of our advisors don't, they never started out thinking, hey, I'm going to be a financial advisor someday. Right. But we can teach them that. And they bring all of their military experience and everything that comes with that. And that's how we put a really effective package together to help folks.
That's awesome. And we've talked about First Command's mission and passion for service. And you talked a little bit about this, that how does that translate to hiring and who you hire?
Sure. So like I said, we recruit off military, from the military. A large percentage of our advisors are military spouses, either with spouses that are currently active duty or formerly active duty. And that puts that really nice package together, helps them navigate waters, financial waters that maybe they haven't experienced, gives them role models for what just financially squared away. What's a good budget look like? What are the other things that they can do to leverage the benefits of being in the military? And they've done that, so they can bring that whole package to their clients when they put it together.
All right. So we've talked about hiring. Do your advisors have to have a financial degree or anything to get started in this career?
So no, that's a degree in finance is not something you have to have. And like I said, we are really hiring for culture. We're hiring for fit and experience with the military, and we provide all the training. It's a pretty rigorous training process. You have to get licenses and go through our training academy and all of that. And then there's, a lot of on-the-job training working with senior advisors. But most of our folks don't come to us with a finance degree. So they are inspired by the mission, and we teach them all the technical stuff that they need.
I love that. And I love that your company does that, because it's harder to teach. Like you said, you can't teach the background in military, but you can teach the financial aspect of it. Oh my goodness. Well, John, it's been a pleasure speaking with you today. But before we end,
sure. I know there's the last question. Yep.
Yes. Always ask it. So what does empowerment mean to you?
Great. I love that you guys ask this question at the end every single time. Yeah. So I will say that empowerment to me is making sure that I have the skills, I have the knowledge, I have the support and the ability to follow through on any goal that I want to achieve. I want to make sure I have all the pieces and parts in place. And then, to take that from a leader's perspective, and even from a financial advisor's perspective, is to help folks learn the skills, help folks have the capabilities, have a vision, have a plan to be able to then achieve whatever they're trying to achieve. I think that's empowerment. I think that's wrapping the whole package together and making sure that people can get where they want to get to. And I think that's very empowering for folks. And we try to do a little piece of that. We try to do our little part to give people what they need to feel like they can control their finances, and they can control, at least as much as anybody can control, the goals that they achieve in the future.
I that's such a holistic answer. I love that. And my dad is in the back of my head saying, teach a person to fish, you feed them for life.
Absolutely.
Feed a person a fish. Yep. Oh my gosh. What a wonderful answer. You have given us so much to think about for any military spouses who are ready to pursue a long-term career, or transitioning service members who want to stay connected to the military. Like you said, stay in the locker room.
Yep.
How can they learn more about the opportunity to become a First Command financial advisor?
Sure. And we would love to talk to anybody who's interested. There's just not enough of us to take care of folks that like the way we would like to. So our website is always a great resource. That's www.firstcommand.com. Google First Command office in your local area and call them up. They would love to talk to you about it, and they can point you in the right direction, and they can tell you what it's like. And even if you don't know and you just want to get a little bit of a picture of what the life is like, love to talk to them. And any of our advisors would love to sit down and chat with you about it.
Oh, that's wonderful. And listeners, for any of you who are on the go, don't worry. Our show notes will have all of the links in it. John, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to talk to us about this.
Well, it's my pleasure. I had a lot of fun. I was looking forward to this, and so this was a lot of fun today. Thanks for having me.
I've learned so much during this, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you.